Ever since Namco was announced to be helping with development for Super Smash Bros. For Wii U and 3DS, fans have wondered if Pac-Man would make an appearance in the game. Well, it was finally confirmed during E3, and Pac-Man looks to be a unique fighter for the series, combining his classic games, modern games, and even other Namco games into a cohesive moveset. But you know us. We can't help but want to run the trailer through the old analysis machine to see just how many secrets and hidden details we can find. So let's get this Pac attack on the move. The most obvious thing to look at first is Pac-Man's design. There was a debate for a while on which form Pac-Man would take if he made it into the game. Would it be his classic arcade look, or his most recent design from Pac-Man and the Ghostly Adventures? Well, it turned out to be his design from Pac-Land, the first arcade platformer he ever starred in. However, it looks to have been tweaked to better match his evolving appearance up until the Pac-Man World games. That's not to say his classic form doesn't appear at all though. His entrance into battle actually begins with him as a simple yellow circle, then his mouth opens for his classic look, and finally he jumps out in his Smash Bros. Form. It's a nice touch that shows the progression of the character. And even some of his moves bring back the classic Pac-Man, such as his dodge roll curling him up into a featureless yellow ball, and his dash attack turning him into his arcade munching form. And Pac-Man is truly out to munch when he pulls off his final smash, which transforms him into a giant form of himself that sets out to eat his opponents. Unfortunately, we don't know the limits to this form though, such as whether the player can control it, whether Pac-Man can go anywhere, or if it's just a canned animation. Finally, his side special allows him to throw out pellets that he will then eat as he follows them along. If an opponent gets caught in its path, they'll be damaged. While it doesn't have a long range, Pac-Man is able to angle the pellets in any direction he wants, including looping behind him, which makes the move quite versatile. Pac-Man's down special is proving to be just as unique. He summons a fire hydrant from Pac-Land and drops it beneath him. Whoever's caught underneath will obviously be damaged, but that's not the hydrant's only use. While it's on the field, it will spray water from both sides. This water pushes back whoever's caught in it. However, it does not interrupt their animation as we can see with Luigi. And since Pac-Man is dodging the water, he will likely be affected by it too. But he's not done with the hydrant yet, as it can be struck and sent flying as a projectile. It's difficult to say as of yet whether it travels at the same arc with every hit, or different types of strikes will send it flying at different angles. But we're pretty sure that other players could potentially send the hydrant at Pac-Man as well. His other special moves are actually references to other Namco games, so we'll cover those later since many of his attacks are callbacks to his own games. The most obvious examples are his smash attacks. His up smash sends out the arcade version of Inky, his side smash is Blinky, and his down smash summons Pinky and Clyde on both sides of him. It seems as if each ghost has its own specific position, though we wonder if they'll have any kind of special effects. It doesn't seem likely though, because the bonus effects like Blinky becoming faster as more pellets were cleared would be difficult to transition into the Smash Bros. Setting. They're even used in one of Pac-Man's taunts where Pinky and Blinky circle the musical notes around Pac-Man before disappearing. It's certainly a cute little touch, but there's something curious about the ghosts in the trailer as well. At one point, all 4 ghosts are traveling around the stage. This movement doesn't match any of the moves Pac-Man uses either in his trailer or in the match we saw during the developer roundtable. While they could be part of his standard special, which we'll cover later, we believe that this might actually be a Ghost Assist trophy. After all, if this was one of Pac-Man's moves, why would he need to dodge out of their way? Of course, we just pointed out how Pac-Man could be affected by his fire hydrant special, but it still seems odd that 2 of his moves could damage himself. One of Pac-Man's normal attacks can even be linked back to his moves from a past game. His up aerial looks very similar to his backflip attack from Pac-Man World 2, but the rest of his regular moves seem invented for Smash Bros., while his remaining specials look to be references to other Namco games. His up special summons a trampoline that can be used up to 3 times, even if another player uses it. What's notable though is that the trampoline changes from blue to yellow to red. If someone tries to jump on it while it's red, it will disappear. This is almost exactly how the trampolines worked in the arcade game Mappy. The only difference is that there was a green trampoline that would allow for an extra bounce. The most interesting of Pac-Man's specials though is his standard. This allows him to pull out various items from many different Namco arcade games. We even got more detail from Sakurai's Miiverse post that says that as the player holds down the move, it will cycle in the order of the original game. From what we can see, that seems to hold true as the strawberry changes to an orange, and later an apple changes into a single large grape and then a Galaxian. So while we haven't seen all of them, it can be presumed that the order cycles from a cherry, to a strawberry, to an orange, to an apple, to the grape, and then the Galaxian. Each one will have a different effect, and we can see this demonstrated in the trailer as the orange is only thrown a short distance before being deflected by one of Mega Man's shots. Meanwhile, the Galaxian mimics the same circular motion it uses in the original game to attack opponents. but there are still a lot of questions surrounding this move. We already noted that the objects cycle through the same order of the original game, so does that mean that the bell and key will appear after the Galaxian? Or will they be cut in favor of other Namco cameos? After all, we see the same summoning effect for the fruit and when it cycles through the Galaga ship, the Pukas from Dig Dug, Mappy from Mappy, and the Andor Genesis from Xevious. What this could mean is that the cycle of the bonus fruit special might extend way beyond what was in the original Pac-Man. Each of the fruits would do typical damage, maybe slightly increasing in power as it's charged. It's been noted that the charge time doubles after the orange, so this would make sense. What we think might be the case is after the Galaxian, the Galaga ship appears, completely ignoring the bell and key, mainly because they seem less specialized than the Galaxian, unless it's a possible power increase. As for what the other items could do, the Galaga ship could fire lasers at opponents, Pukas could chase opponents and maybe even pop up from underground to attack them, Mappy could chase other fighters with his club, and Andor Genesis could send hordes of bullets at your enemies. Considering how long the charge would take to get to that point, it would be more than fair. The other question is though, where does the Galaga alien fit in? We saw it before Pac-Man was even announced and assumed it to be an assist trophy, but we clearly see Pac-Man using the same absorbing rays, so could this be another option for a standard special? And if it is, where would it fit? The likely option would be between the Galaxian and the Galaga ship, but there could be even more than what we've seen here. At the very least, we can assume that it's used to leave opponents defenseless in the air for future attacks. It isn't just Pac-Man's moveset that we gotta look at though. Both of his stages for the 3DS and Wii U were revealed. The 3DS stage is based on the arcade game, although it's not a complete recreation. Only a few platforms are actually there. However, the ghosts are still roaming the outskirts and pellets and fruit appear all around. We can see that players earn points from collecting these items, but we still have no idea if they'll have an effect like the coins from the Golden Plains stage. Obtaining a power pellet, on the other hand, has an immediate effect. The ghosts turn blue, allowing the player who got the pellet, and only that player, to eat them. Anyone else that touches the ghost is still hurt. The Wii U stage will be based on Pac-Land and looks to be an auto-scrolling stage. We don't think it will work like other scrolling stages though. While those always became a loop, Pac-Land had a different conceit. It was Pac-Man's job to take a lost fairy to the fairy garden, then immediately return home. If this stage follows that format, then once the players reach the fairy garden that we see in the trailer, it will begin scrolling back to the left until it reaches Pac-Man's house. There might even be cameos by Miss Pac-Man and Baby Pac-Man like in the original game. Pac-Land also featured the ghosts attacking from various vehicles like planes and bulldozers, so could they appear here as hazards as well? And would players be able to attack them normally or collect a power pellet like in the actual game to get rid of them? And will the level just feature the town and the fairy garden, or will the desert and forest appear as well? There are a lot of elements that could be pulled from the original game. Okay, we're almost done here, but there are still a few things we'd like to point out. For one, in one of the release screenshots, we get our first look at Kirby's Pac-Man transformation. He even has Pac-Man's telltale nose and the triangular eyebrows. Then there's the special flag. At first we thought it might be connected to a standard special, but the trailer clearly shows other characters using it. There's no indication to what it's doing exactly, but it seems to be an item in the game rather than something directly related to Pac-Man's moveset. And finally, the end of the trailer shows Mr. Game & Watch next to Pac-Man, since both of their games were released in the same year. This is the first we've seen of Game & Watch in Smash Bros. Wii U and 3DS. The question everyone has though is whether it's a soft confirmation that he's back, or just a tease from Sakurai. We firmly believe that he'll return, but there's always a chance that Sakurai is just playing with us. At the very least, Pac-Man is indeed in Smash Bros., and we all have the opportunity to pit him, Mario, Mega Man, and Sonic against each other. He has some very unique moves, and we can't wait to see more from him. But until then, that's everything new we could find in the Pac-Man reveal trailer. Of course, if we still miss something, please let us know in the comments. If you like this video, be sure to like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter at GameXplain. Thanks for watching, and make sure to stay tuned to GameXplain for more on Smash Bros. And other things gaming too.